The beacon is one of the most useful endgame items in Minecraft. However, they can be quite complicated to get and use. So this video is the ultimate beacon guide for Minecraft 1.21. First of all, let's start with how to actually get the beacon. Looking at the beacon crafting recipe, it's quite simple. You'll need 3 obsidian for the bottom and 5 glass for the top, which are both very easily obtainable. The only unfamiliar item is the core of the beacon, the Nether star. Getting one of these is quite difficult. You will need to defeat the infamous Wither boss, who will drop the Nether star upon death. How do you fight the Wither? Well, first you have to actually spawn it. Spawning the Wither takes 4 soul sand and 3 Wither skulls in this formation right here. Soul sand is easily obtainable through Nether fortresses and soul sand valleys. However, for Wither skulls, you will need a fair bit of luck, as Wither skulls are only dropped by Wither skeleton mobs in fortresses with a 2.5% chance. So you'll need to kill a lot of Wither skeletons before you get 3 skulls. To increase your chances though, you can also use a sword enchanted with looting 3, which will increase the chance of a Wither skull being dropped to 5.5%, or if you want a 100% drop rate, lure a charged creeper into the Nether and have it blow up a Wither skeleton. That is a guaranteed Wither skull drop. Once you eventually do spawn the Wither and complete the lengthy and annoying boss fight, the Wither will drop the Nether star upon its death, giving you all the necessary materials to now craft the beacon. So awesome, we now actually have the beacon in our hands, but now you're probably wondering, well, how does this thing even work? Well, opening up the beacon interface reveals exactly how. As you can see, we have all these rare materials on the side right here: iron, gold, diamonds, emeralds, and netherite. We also have these potion effects like strength, jump boost, haste, regeneration, and more. Basically, by feeding the beacon one of these rare metals, you can then pick an effect for the beacon to give you as long as you are within a range of it. For example, I could ask the beacon to give me speed or jump boost, and as long as I'm in the range of the beacon, it will apply that effect for me. I can only pick one of these effects though, plus a secondary power, which we'll go over, and the cool thing is you never need to refuel the beacon or put more items to refresh the effects. The effects will stay forever. The effect options that the beacon can provide for you are as follows. Again, you can only pick one for it to give you. First, there's speed, which is simple. You just run faster. Next up, jump boost, also self-explanatory. You just jump higher. Then there's haste, which will increase your mining speed and the speed at which you swing your hand, which also increases things like your attack speed as well. One of the most useful beacon effects. After that, you got resistance, which makes you take less damage in general, especially against mob and player attacks. Strength, which will increase your attack damage. And finally, regeneration, which, as the name implies, will make you regenerate health faster. Regeneration can only be applied as a secondary power, meaning you need to have already picked one other effect to go with it. However, even with all that information, the beacon is still not ready to give us effects just yet. To use the beacon, you'll first need to power it, meaning you'll need to make a base of blocks for the beacon. What kind of blocks do you use for the base? Well, remember the same materials on the side of the beacon's interface right here, like iron, gold, diamonds. These are all the materials that the blocks in the base of your beacon could be made out of. So for example, you could use a base of iron blocks, a base of gold blocks, a diamond base, etc. The material that you use doesn't really matter. It's not like a beacon with a netherite base gives any better powers than a beacon with an iron or gold base. It's basically the same. You could even mix different blocks in the base and still have the beacon function just as well. So just keep that in mind. Now that you know what kind of materials you can use for your base, let's talk a bit more about the base itself. The size of the base under the beacon matters significantly, impacting the beacon's range and both the strength and number of effects it can give you. There are 4 major levels that the beacon can have depending on the size of the base under it. A level 1 beacon only requires a 3x3 base of blocks under it, like so. With a level 1 beacon, you can only get the speed 1 or haste 1 effects from the beacon, none of the others. The range of these effects is only 20 blocks large, meaning if you're 20 blocks away from the beacon in any direction, the effects will vanish. A level 2 beacon has a pyramid with a 5x5 base instead, and with this beacon, you have more options. You can now get either resistance 1 or jump boost 1 from the beacon, including the previous options. Again, you can still only pick one of these effects to apply, you just have more options to choose from now. And additionally, the range of the beacon will now be extended to 30 blocks. Then a level 3 beacon has a pyramid with a 7x7 base and adds the strength 1 effect to the options you can pick from. It also extends the beacon's range to 40 blocks. And finally, a maxed out level 4 beacon has a pyramid with a 9x9 base, extends the beacon's range to 50 blocks, and unlocks the secondary regeneration effect of the beacon. You actually have 2 options here now with this beacon. You can pick any of the previous effects plus the secondary regeneration effect, like speed 1 plus regeneration 1, or you can upgrade one of the existing effects and go without the extra regeneration. So again, for instance, you could get just speed 2 or just strength 2 without regeneration. Those are the pathways with a level 4 beacon, but if you're going down the path of getting just one effect at level 2, I would highly recommend getting Haste 2. Haste 2 allows you to insta-mine stone with a diamond or netherite pickaxe enchanted with efficiency 5, and it's just crazy good for quality of life, especially if you're a builder that does a lot of terraforming. Alternatively, another one I like with a single beacon setup is speed plus secondary regeneration. You move slightly faster, just enough so that it's convenient, and you regenerate health faster too. So obviously, you want to have the beacon working at its max power, so you want a level 4 beacon if possible. The only issue is that it's a lot of blocks, and these aren't just random blocks, they are blocks made out of valuable materials like iron and diamonds. If you want a maxed out beacon, you'll need 1,476 iron, gold, diamonds, emeralds, or netherite ingots. That is a lot. So how do you get that amount of resources without spending weeks mining? Well, it's actually quite simple. Since beacons are late game, you most likely either have an iron farm or gold farm or both. That is more than enough to get materials for the beacon, but if you're someone who doesn't really use farms like me, trading with villagers and using emeralds for your base is also an option. It'll take a bit longer, but all you need is the Fletcher stick trade, for example, and getting emeralds is insanely easy. But once you do have a fully maxed out beacon with the effects that you picked, it isn't over just yet. Even a max beacon leaves a lot to be desired. You can only have 1 or 2 effects at a time, and although the beacon's range extends infinitely upwards, so no matter how high you are above it, it'll still keep the effects, the horizontal range of the beacon is just 50 blocks, which sounds like quite a bit, but it really isn't. So this is where having multiple beacons comes into play. Yes, you can do that, and it's not as resource intensive as you think it might be. If you want to add another beacon to your pyramid, all you need to do is simply place the new beacon next to the existing one, and then extend every level of the pyramid by 1 block in the direction of the new beacon. This is much cheaper than building another separate pyramid, only costing you an extra 24 blocks in total. That gives you another level 4 beacon to work with, which allows you to get even more effects compared to just one. And yes, you can add as many beacons as you like to your shared pyramid, as long as you follow the rule of extending the pyramid by 1 block in the beacon's direction. The best setup to have, especially for endgame, is a 6 beacon mega pyramid, selecting a different effect for each beacon to give you. This allows you to get every single unique beacon effect possible at level 2, including regeneration as well. You'll move super fast, jump super high, take less damage, and regenerate health quicker, insta-mine blocks, and kill things super easily. Basically, you turn into a god. So that's really cool. There's still a few unanswered questions about the beacon though, like how do you customize it? Can you use it in the nether and end, among others? Well, first of all, yes, you can use the beacon in the nether and end, but with a few caveats. Beacons in the nether actually don't work normally, as the nether has a roof that obstructs the beacon's beam. That's kind of a rule of beacons. You can't have any blocks directly above the beacon, otherwise it won't work and the beam won't shine. However, if you destroy all the blocks in the way of the beacon's beam, you can get the beacon to function perfectly fine, as beacon beams can actually pass through the nether's bedrock ceiling, which is pretty cool. So if you want to, you definitely can build a second mega pyramid of beacons in the nether to get these same effects there. It's even more useful there due to the nether's hostile conditions, and in the end, beacons work perfectly fine without any issues as well. In terms of beacon customization, you can use stained glass to change the color of the beacon's beam if you want to. Stained glass will not obstruct the beam, and you can in fact have a multicolored beam by using multiple different colors of stained glass. The trick is to have the glass spaced out so that each unique color in the beam really gets to shine. Once you have more than 2 colors in the beacon beam, depending on the other colors you use, the colors can actually mix to create a completely new beam color, which is really cool. If you guys did enjoy this video, then please consider dropping a like and a sub, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!